Where my girls at? Where my girls at? Independent, free spirit. Ooh, it's something serious. Where my girls at? We linked up in a cool minute. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right. It's going down tonight. We going out tonight. Yeah, right. We going out tonight. It's going down tonight. Yeah, right.
Hey, Facebook. Hey, Facebook, we're so excited. We're getting ready to start in 1 second. They're playing our music already. So this much flavor, this much fun. You're going to love the topic. We're so glad you're in. We encourage you to call in. We want you to share because we are building the Girlfriend Tribe. And we're so glad that you checked in with us. We're happy to have you. And we're getting ready to start in just a second. It's going down.
It is going down. You have the force of friendship here on We Got Issues. I'm so excited to be here again today. I hope you were on the show yesterday because we had a hot show yesterday. I hope you were with us on Friday when we were in the studio. And today, this is your girl, Caterina Harris Earl, coming to you back in California. And Lady Crisette Ellis looking all colorful. If you are watching us on Facebook or YouTube, you see her. We got Sabrina in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. We got Gloria, who we can tell is back in Baltimore. Okay. So this in Ellicott City, Maryland, Baltimore area. And today we're going to be talking about parenting. Oh my goodness. Do we have another hot show for you today? So I want you to tune in. I want all the mamas. I want all the daddies. I want you to listen in. We are still, of course, celebrating dads with us just having passed Father's Day, but you're listening to We Got Issues on 910 AM, the Superstation-WFDF out of Detroit and broadcasting to you all over the world. We promise today we are going to bring some laughter. I'm going to open up with some laughter. We promise we got lessons. We promise we're going to talk about real life of raising kids. Now, the interesting thing about me hosting this show today is that I am the girlfriend who hasn't been blessed to give birth to kids. But I'm telling you, those 5 grown kids that are my bonus children from my husband and 14 grandkids, everything that I say to them, I learned from one of these chicks on this radio show right here today. So I'm going to pass it to Crisette first because you just you inherited a new bonus daughter, and your son just had a major rites of passage getting married. So how you doing, Crisette? How are you?
Hey, I am doing super fantastic. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Excited to be here on today. I know today is going to be an amazing show as we talk about parenting. And Kiera did a FaceTime with her brother today. They're in Cancun, living their best life, And so that is so exciting. I'm so glad that they're having a good time. And so we're still on a high. We have not come down from the wedding. I'm still on a high. But you guys, it's a lot going on. It's just a great day in the D. Just a day to be thankful for all of God's amazing blessings. So much is going on in our country. So much is going on in the world. You guys, I was listening to the news and I was really shocked to hear that 4 million Americans quit their jobs in April. 4 million quit their jobs. And, some of them did it because, of their responsibilities at home. Some, they said, are rethinking, about the choices that they made, the job that they were in. And so, this is a very different time. I don't know if I can remember a time, and I'm sure there probably, if I go back and research, a time where there are so many jobs to be filled and people like, until you raise the pay, you know what I'm saying, and pay me what I'm worth, I am not going back. And so, it's just interesting to see. I mean, and it's a trickle down effect, because there are a lot of people that have left the workforce. When you go to restaurants, when you go to stores, when you go to the grocery stores, I'm telling you, the lines are long. You're like waiting for someone to help you, and there's no one to help you. And I'm telling you, I can't begin to tell you how many places I've gone with a big sign that says "Help Wanted." So if there was ever a time that somebody wanted a job, the job market is open. But people are really at this point taking a serious look at, should I go back to work or become an entrepreneur and work for myself? So it's just going to be interesting to watch these numbers to see if they change at all. But again, I'm excited to be here, excited about this show. And I'm just going to throw it to my girl from the D, used to be from the D. I'm throwing it to Gloria. Hey, Gloria.
Woo-woo. The D sisters, Detroit. How you guys doing? We got issues. Talk about 4 million people. About an hour ago, my HVAC guy called. He said, Gloria, I know you know a lot of people. Who do you know who wants to work in HVAC and can talk the language? I was like, wow. You really stretching it here. He's calling everybody to find somebody who can work for him. So it is a real issue. And I'm so glad that we're on the show together so we can talk about We Got Issues. It is a beautiful day now because it rained all day today in Baltimore. And you know what I think it did in Baltimore by all that rain? I think it drowned all the cicadas. I think I think they all drowned. And I like animals and everything. I try to save everybody, but let them be gone. Let them be gone. Let them be gone. Let them be gone. I really think I opened the door and I was like, do I hear any sound? Because they make a very loud sound, like very loud. And this dying down. So it looks like it's almost out of cicada country. And so that's exciting. So there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot going on. And so I'm going to throw it on down to North Carolina, to Sabrina Goodwin Monday. You don't have nothing that rhymes like this your girl, Caterina Harris, Earl. But we'll make up something for you since you got Mondays. You got a whole day of the week. So that's okay. You get a whole day of the week.
That's right. It's Monday, baby. Every day of the week. Every day is Monday. This is Sabrina Goodwin Monday. I'm glad you guys are here. Hello to our tribe who's looking at us on Facebook, watching us on YouTube, downloading the 910 app, listening to us as you're driving in the car. You might be local in Detroit and you can get it on your radio dial. I even hear that you get 910 all the way in Ohio. So we're excited. We're excited that you're joining us. It's a great day. It rained out here today too, Gloria. I mean, Rio and I, we were out for a walk. We got caught in the rain. It was pouring down. I called Kennedy. I said, are you near? Please come get us. Please come get us. And Rio was looking at me like, Mama, you got me out here in this rain. You better call somebody. So we got to ride back, and it was all good. But now the sun is trying to come out, so that's good. Lots going on, man. A variant, that new variant of COVID, people still dying. I think there was somewhere crazy. Maybe in Michigan that, 4 people in the office building contracted the virus. 3 of them died. One that didn't die, had gotten the shot, the vaccination. The shot, right. And so we just have to stay vigilant, y'all. We are not out of this thing. It's too many people not vaccinated. And we just have to be vigilant and encourage our loved ones, friends and family and foe to consider, get the shot, get the doggone shot so we can get on with this life of ours. Big news in the NFL, first openly gay NFL football player. That is big news in the NFL. Yeah. So I tell you, we're living in a different world, a changing world. And we're here today to talk about parenting. How we do what we do. Salute to all the parents out there because it's my best job, most rewarding job, but probably also my most challenging job. So it's all good. Caterina, thank you for bringing this topic to us today.
Well, I'm excited about it. I'm really excited about it. There is so much that is happening. There's so much that was happening. There was some other things that I wanted to bring to the table, but we're just going to jump in and talk about parenting. And I want you to call in. I really want you to call in. I know we got parents out there. What are the ages of your kids? Put that in the chat. And I want you to just playful out with me, whether you are driving in the car, keep your hands on the wheel. If you're in the Facebook audience, and for our girlfriends, I'm going to tell you 21 things Black mamas say. And I want you to just say, just nod your head for the Facebook audience. Say amen if you have used these more than once. Okay. Can you relate? And for me, I'm going to say, I'm going to raise my hand for how many times my mama said this to me. Okay. I'm going to go real quick. 21 things. Number one, I am not your little friend. Okay. Have you said that? Have you said that?
I am not your friend.
I am not your friend.
I ain't trying to be your friend.
Number two, do I look like Boo Boo the Fool? Do I look like Boo Boo the Fool? Okay, I have said that to my grandkids. Number three, a hard head makes a soft behind. Okay, a hard head makes a soft behind. You said that when you said that one. Okay, number four. First of all, check your tone, okay? Now that sounds like Nora.
Oh yeah, check your
Nora
tone.
says
Right,
that
that's Nora.
Right now,
sure.
as a grown,
Right. She says it to everybody.
Check your tone, lovey. Okay,
tone,
number
lovey.
five. Number five. Stop all that crying before I give you something to cry about. Okay,
that's my mother.
Daddy.
That was my mother. Ooh, that was my mother.
Okay,
that was her.
I know some of these might have went out in the last generation, but okay, this one is still around. Number six. You got McDonald's money? Do you have McDonald's money? Did you use that one?
I just said that to my 23-year-old yesterday. Okay, Starbucks. He was going to Starbucks. I said, "You got Starbucks money?" Okay.
Number seven, don't you get in trouble following behind those other kids of another race. Right. Don't get in trouble. Now, this happened to me. True story. My mama said, because I was watching Brady Bunch and I tried to sling my little hair and walk away. And my mama said to me, don't get in trouble because this is not the Brady Bunch house. Okay. I brought you in the world and what? I'll take you out. Okay. Number 8. I hope you know that schoolwork like you know them songs. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We heard that one. Okay, this one right here, when you get a little bit older, I know that Chauncey is a successful attorney now, but I bet you said this, Gloria, you smelling yourself. Okay, you're smelling yourself. Okay, you know, when big man on campus, they feel a little bit like, okay, I know my dad said, his mama said that to her. Number 10. When we get to the store, don't touch nothing.
Oh yeah. Oh, don't touch nothing. But you know how you say it? You say don't touch nothing in here. Like it's nothing.
Okay, this one all the time. People still say this one to me now. Number 11, fix your face. Fix your face. Yeah. Okay.
And that's Nora. That's Nora. Fix your face.
Yeah, for real. Number 12, this is important. I don't care what so-and-so's mama does. I am not so-and-so's mama. Okay.
Oh, for sure.
That is important.
That was a regular. Because
you can't do what everybody else does. We are not trying to keep up with the Joneses. How about keep playing and see what happens? Keep on with that and see what happens. These are things that have helped us to be the tremendous, powerful women we are today. I know, number 15, didn't I tell you not to do that? Okay.
Right.
Or how about this one? My grandmama used to say this, stop running in and out of this house. You're going to be inside. Or you're going to be outside.
I said to Ken now.
Okay.
He goes in and out the house 12 times before he drives off. For real.
Number 19. I already said it. I brought you in this world and I'll take you out. I think that's the most common. You cannot make a movie today with somebody Black mama without that.
Right.
Number 20, go sit down somewhere. Okay, just go sit down somewhere.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And lastly, if someone hits you first, you hit them back. Okay. If someone hits you first, you hit them back. I'm interested to say, how many of you, what was your philosophy on that? Okay, was that your philosophy? If they hit you, hit them back? Sabrina said yes.
Yeah.
Well, just say absolutely. You know,
Hey,
but I
Sabrina,
didn't have to say anything. They made those choices themselves, for real.
Right. Hit them back and then give them a big hug.
Right. No.
Hit them back and run. Mine was hit them back and run. Okay. I was the little girl on campus, so I had to hit her back with an umbrella, and then I took off running because I was in track. Okay. So we're talking about parenting, and I just want you guys to think about, you all have successful, amazingly successful kids, and seriously, all of that was in fun. But we're talking about parenting styles to support those that are raising small kids. How did you end up here? What are some things that have helped you? So Sabrina, I'm just going to pass it to you first before we go to break. Okay. I'm gonna let you brag on your own kids, but we all love Sydney. We all love Quincy. We all love Kennedy. I mean, amazingly successful. And we could only fast forward, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and know that we will be seeing their names in lights all over in their respective fields already. So what did it take? Talk about parenting. What was the parenting style like in the Monday household?
Yeah, that's a great question. I want to go back to Carla. She said another thing that we didn't talk about, that we didn't say, stay out of grown folks' business. We all have said that, stay out of grown folks' business. Okay, absolutely. I think back, go back to when those children were, I didn't have children. I had my first baby at 31. So that was kind of late getting started. And so I remember when the kids were in elementary school and they would be like, my friend's mommy is 20 something. My friend's mommy is, I said, well, I'm not your friend. I'm not your friend's mama, and I'm in my 30s. Okay. And this is how we do it over here. I think we had a lot of love and a lot of laughter in our household, but we were serious. We were very serious goal setters for them when they were young. I am so grateful for the sport of wrestling, for those little rambunctious boys. It gave them something to do to burn off that energy. I mean, those boys were 18 months apart. And when I tell you they were high energy and they needed some activity, and I often think about if one would have been a boy, one would have been a girl, what that would have been like. I'm so grateful that they were boys so they could spar together. We had them in wrestling practice at 5, y'all. At 5, they were going to practice every day of the week. 5 days a week, they would go to practice. And I think that instilled discipline. Sydney was always in major extracurricular activities when she was really young. We identified talents early on. I'm so glad boys came along because Kenny had her running track, had her in t-ball, had her in softball. She didn't like none of it. Okay? So, she wanted to be somewhere reading a book. She's always loved books, and it's no secret that she's in the literary industry now. But I think probably was just a lot of organization, keeping them busy in positive environments, giving them lots of encouragement along the way. But also there was strong discipline, and we did it our way. I remember a family member saying, you should have a rigid bedtime for them. Well, that wasn't for Kenny and I. We liked them to stay up late so they could sleep the next morning, so we could have time that morning to get ourselves together. We didn't have a traditional 9 to 5. And so that worked for us, creating a rhythm, a system that worked for the Monday household. We didn't look to the left. Parenting doesn't really come with a real journal. It can give you some suggestions, but until you get your own and you create your own vibe, what works for own family dynamics, you got to figure it out. So we did a lot of figuring, but I am just so grateful that we really did have pretty good kids who listened, who wanted to learn, who followed the rules for the most part. Now I'm gonna tell you, they're growing up to be great kids, but it hasn't been without issues. Every family has issues. Every young adult kid, one way or another, you're gonna have some bumps along the way. And so I just think I'm grateful for Kenny. We work really good together. If I needed him to step in and be the disciplinarian so I could do a soft touch, that worked. Then if he needed to come in with a heavy hand, then I can be the soft touch. So we worked really good together in partnership in parenting.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We're going to go to break so we can pay some bills, but I'm going to bring Gloria in after the break to talk about the perspective before you were married, you were a single parent and what that looks like. We're talking about parenting today. What's your parenting style? Call us today. We want to hear from you. 313-778-7600. We got issues. And here we go to a break.
Hey, Facebook. Hey, y'all. This is so exciting. Like, let me just say this to you. Number one, I was super excited that we had so many views of our show yesterday. That was like so on fleek, so on fleek. This topic is so good. Listen, my kids are like totally grown, and I'm still loving the topic. I'm loving it for me. I'm loving it for my grandkids. I'm loving it for my girlfriends who I know are either in the midst of raising their own children or their grandchildren. You know, there's something new going on in parenting right now where a lot of grandparents are taking on the responsibility. I'm super glad. That is not the choice that I've had to make. And I pray it does not become the choice I have to make. My father used to say, I've raised my kids. Now you go raise yours. He said it to my mother all the time. Leave her alone. You raise your kids. Now let her go raise hers. So that's really good. And so we hope that we can lend in some ear about parenting, and we'd like to hear from you. So if you call in, because I was thinking earlier today, I was like, maybe I should ask them, why don't they call in? I know some people don't call in because they're nervous. Some people don't call in because they don't know how they're going to sound. Some people don't call in because they're busy, but I wonder what is your reason. 313-778-7600. The parenting, also we've got not only parenting, but careers in parenting. Some people didn't have a career. Some people worked on entrepreneurship. Some people have a job while they're doing it. I mean, it's so different. I know I'm going to talk about being a single parent. That's pretty juicy. So it's sort of fun to be with you guys today. And don't forget to give us ideas on what you think we can be talking about on We Got Issues, because you guys have been fired up. And it's so exciting about that. Also, want to make sure that you guys stay tuned and continue to help us build our tribe, because we are going to be getting together soon. And when the four of us get together with you, oh my gosh, I can only imagine. I can only imagine what's going to happen. Tomorrow I'm going to be on Clubhouse talking at 6:30 a.m. And here we go. I'm excited. Oh, got it.
Make sure you're following us at theforceoffriendship.com. We want to hear from you. Make sure you go there and fill out our subscribe on there, because we are going to be having some amazing fun events. We want to be sure that you are on our mailing list. So make sure you're there. Today we are talking about parenting, and I have three amazing girlfriends with me that are parents, and I am blessed to be a GG, and I've learned a lot from these women. Let's talk about 4 different types of parenting styles, and which one of these styles can you relate to? First is the authoritative parenting style. That parent aims to strike a balance between being firm but also warm and supportive. Authoritarian parents believe kids should follow the rules without exception. Authoritarian parents are famous for saying, "Because I said so." Okay? Or are you the attachment parent? Authoritative parents have rules and they use consequences, but they also take their children's opinion into account. They validate their children's feelings while also making it clear that the adult is ultimately in charge. So we go on there. And so we also can describe the attachment parenting. Another parenting style is permissive parenting. Permissive parents are more lenient. They often only step in when there's a serious problem. They're quite forgiving, and they adopt an attitude of kids will be kids. Sometimes we look at this and folks would say, that's not what Black folks do, okay?
Right.
So I'm not sure who wrote this article, but they describe another parenting style as free range parenting. No, Okay, what is this one? Isn't about being permissive or uninvolved. Instead, it's about allowing kids to have the freedom to experience the natural consequences of their behavior. And then the last type of parent, which I know none of my girlfriends are, is the uninvolved parent. And that's the parent who tends to have little knowledge of what their children are doing. And so they kind of raise themselves. Although we all know some parents that has been their conscious or subconscious parenting style. So we're talking parenting, and I wanted to go to Gloria. What was it like, Gloria? Small kids, being married and then being divorced, being a single parent. Was your parenting style the same throughout, or did it change? Talk to us. What can we learn?
That's a really good question, Caterina. My parenting style changed over the time, from when they were really young to when I was a single parent and started an entrepreneurial venture where when I started, I was working. So my style changed. And I also had the complications of a tumultuous divorce. It wasn't an easy divorce. It was a hard time. And so to become a single parent when he was a very dominating person and tried to challenge me on almost everything. So I went through a season where it wasn't easy to parent because every time I wanted to go left, he wanted to go right. Every time I wanted to go right, he wanted to go left. I felt that it was important for me not to talk negatively about the situation. He felt like it was important for the kids to be informed at 4 and 5 and 5 and 6. That was strange. What we did master together, though, was the educational process. We had a high priority on education. We had a high priority on extracurricular activities. We had a high priority on supporting the house. Now, that was probably the biggest present he gave me. It was my ex-husband's idea to have a live-in. He said, we need to have a live-in with the kids, the way you work, the way I work. And so that was a big blessing because Joyce came into our life and she was from Jamaica. And I was thinking, I was like, which one of these parent styles am I? Because I talked to Joyce on the phone once, maybe twice, met her at the airport. She had one suitcase. On the side of the suitcase, it said Joyce. That was it. Joyce. I was like, it didn't have all the, all the dynamics that you have now when you check out kids. I asked her, did she raise kids? She said, oh, yeah, I can raise kids. So I said, okay, come on, live in my house. And so she was there. She had a separate bedroom. It was awesome. We knew she was the right one. When I was washing dishes and Clutch was on the floor crying and my sister was over there and she said, well, what is Joyce going to do? Like, how could you have a live-in? Like, what is she going to do? And just when he started crying, Joyce came in the room, slipped out of her room, came into the room, swooped him up, started calming him down and took him off into the abyss. I was like, that is perfect. Perfect for me. So I had the experience where I could work. I had an experience where my house was the house in the neighborhood. That was always my goal, is that when kids come over, I wanted them to come over to my place and play. So Joyce was always there. There was always plenty of food there. There was always plenty of supervision there. So that was a big part of it. It was a challenging time, but it was also a very gifting time. I took my kids from a place where it was dark and hard to a place where it was light and free. And so we celebrated not the fact that it was a celebration I was a single parent, but we celebrated the fact that we had stepped away together in courage to get us out of a difficult situation. So that was my
Gloria, can you just talk about, like, what are a couple things for parents that are listening that might be going through that same thing? What are a couple of practical things you did to take your kids out of that dark place into a lighter, happier place? I know it was a while ago, but think back.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I'm thinking as I look here, the force of friendship, when we talk about the value of girlfriends, I didn't have these girlfriends that close to me at that time, but my girlfriend, Jackie, who lived 2 doors down from me, there's feedback. Y'all hear the feedback? Okay.
That sounds pretty good though.
Okay. So girlfriends mattered. I could drop my kids at her house. She could drop her kids at my house. And I'm talking about the kind of girlfriends who don't judge you when things are going on. And so that was really big. Number one. Number two, I would say, Caterina, was emotional management. Because you can so quickly get caught off your game. Your kids can get you upset. The circumstances can get you upset. When you become a single parent, your finances can get you upset. And all that upsetness sits in your life and sits on your kids' shoulders. And it's not their fault. So that was a large piece of me that decided, it was a decision that I was going to have to be emotionally solid. And the third thing I'd say is that there was a flow to my life. There was a very big flow. I like what Sabrina said when she said, it worked for me. My parenting style worked for me. And so people couldn't judge me about what was going on. I did not have that situation where I had a lot of family around. My parents lived in Detroit. I lived in Boston. I had one sister there, Amy. So it wasn't a situation where we could drop them at our family's houses. It was all about the support of the community. It took a village for sure. And because they were in ballet and football, it was a big deal. Girlfriends made all the difference in the world when I was a single parent. And I love that part. So that's the advice I would give to people.
So yeah, that's excellent. I hear you talking about being very intentional with the village to create the environment, and then your own emotional management, because your kids will mirror that.
Let me just say this,
Yep.
money.
Yep.
Money makes a difference. I was not afraid to completely increase my income. And a lot of women are, but I was not. And I knew how much that income was going to matter, and it mattered a lot.
Mm-hmm. And it benefited your kids. It wasn't,
right.
You weren't, you did it in order to provide the life for them. Crisette, I know you have some things to share, so want to hear from you. I'm learning so much. I'm taking notes. Okay. What else are you learning, girlfriends that are out there? We want to hear from you. Remember, you can call us 313-778-7600, as well as the fathers that are listening in. We definitely want to hear from you. Thanks, Chris.
Hey, I want to share just a few things from parentingforthebrain.com. And and I'm not going to go over all top 10, but, as I kind of read the list, I was like, wow, I can see, some of my parenting in that and these top 10. I can see some of what you said, Gloria and Sabrina. So the first thing they had as number one is to be a good role model, because you know what? There's a saying, it's not what's taught, it's what's caught. And so sometimes we think if we tell our children to do the right thing, but they see us doing all of the negative things, that they are going to do what we told them to do. Do as I say and not as I do. But the truth of the matter is, your children are going to mirror many times, and there's exceptions to all the rules, but many times they are going to do what they see you do. And so, when you set an atmosphere where it's a positive atmosphere, I love the fact that, I've had an opportunity for, over 28 years to be immersed in a entrepreneurial business that is all about the positive, right? And so I can just remember so many times, I'm sure all of us have said, when you tell your children to do their chores and they don't do it when you tell them to do it, and the first thing, boy, you lazy, go take the trash out, right? And so, learning how to language things differently with our children is important. So you can say that, and we've all said things to our children out of anger, but a different way to say that is, boy, you're not lazy, take the trash out. That has a totally different meaning. And so just some of those things, but they, talked about being a really good role model to your children. And then one of the other things they talked about is love them and show them through action, because we all know love is an action word. And so, sometimes, as adults now, we can look back at some of the things our parents did, and at that moment, we may not have felt like it was love, but now as parents, you look back and say, wow, I'm so glad my mother, my father loved me enough to say no, loved me enough to say, I can't go down the street, loved me enough to say, I cannot spend the night. I heard somebody say one time, spending the night at the wrong house could mess your children up for the rest of their life.
That's right.
So I'm so glad that we had parents that were involved. I'm sure you wouldn't be surprised nowadays, play dates, parents sometimes drop their kids off at, houses. They haven't met the parents. They don't know what's going on in that house. I mean, so much is going on. I'll tell this funny story. Then I'll turn it back over to you, Caterina. I remember Kiara. She had a really, really, good girlfriend. And matter of fact, she was on the show not too long ago, Lauren, and she asked me, can I spend the night at Lauren's house? Well, they were best friends and they were always spending the night at each other's houses. And I said, oh, sure, you can spend the night. And so she asked me that. And then Lauren's mom called me and said, well, did Kiara tell you that, they were coming over and then they were going somewhere else? Now, Kiara never mentioned the somewhere else they were going. And they were, maybe 14, 15 years old. And it was going to involve boys. Okay. So Kiara just kind of had amnesia about that part. And so when I checked her on it, she stop, when they're lying because they start stuttering. And one of the things that I told Kiara, and I said, Kiara, you know what? One thing that's important for me is always telling the truth. Now, if you tell me the truth and you did something you weren't supposed to do, it doesn't mean you're going to always get in trouble. Sometimes you are going to get in trouble. But I said, you're going to have a long life of being in this house if you are a liar, because that means I can't trust anything you say. So you know what? At an early age, I taught my children telling the truth is so important, because if you tell the truth, I can trust you. And trust goes a long way. And I just think sometimes we just have to really talk to our children so that they understand that everything that you're doing for them, is out of love and because you want the best for them. So, leading by example is important, and doing things that they know that you love them. Caterina.
Ooh, this is good. This is good. This is good. We have 3 callers. We're going to go to them back to back. Y'all, listen to this. 22% of Black children and those with less educated parents are less likely to be living in 2-parent households. So only 22% of Black children are living with parents in their first marriage, 9% remarriage, 7% cohabitating parents, and 54% single parents among Black children.
54.
So we want to hear the 54%. That's huge. And so we want to hear from Marathon, and then we're going to go to Sylvia, and we got Tony on the line too. So hang with us on We Got Issues.
We thank you so much. We want to hear your perspective. Marathon, are you there?
Hey, how you ladies doing today?
Oh, we're doing awesome. We're doing awesome. Are you a father?
Yes, I am. I have 2 adult daughters. But here's the dilemma. What do you do when your children are coming up as babies and you find out that you're bipolar and you're trying to find out how you deal with this in your life? You have to leave them. But you're judged by the custodial parent, informed by the mother. And so there's no contact with the daughter. So now what do you do with that?
Marathon, have you sought professional advice on this?
And I take meds and I have therapy, but I don't have my daughters. And I've let it go on for many years. I let the mother paint whatever picture she wanted of me. She knows not a damn thing about bipolar. But if I had cancer, she would know about that. Right. And it's not fair. And I'm tired of kissing ass. So now if my daughters don't want to know me, I'll make another family.
Well, first of all, Marathon, we applaud you. Thank you for calling this show, and thank you for just being raw and authentic and speaking. And we can tell that you're a passionate father who desires that relationship. And I do believe exactly what you said. We're more familiar with, even if we haven't personally experienced it, understanding an illness like cancer and so forth, as opposed to something that might be real life difficult. And we know that there are other parents out there that have been challenged with the challenge that you mentioned, that still have become and been successful parents. So I want to ask you, the girlfriend, what advice would you add share. Gloria. And then Chris, but Mantle, I want to tell you something. When I went to the divorce and I had therapy, I remember the therapist telling me that at this age, they may not see it all, but when they become adults, they will see. They will know. And I know sometimes it doesn't, the timing is not always our timing. It's many times God's timing when they really do blossom into the place where they want to know the truth. But I just want to let you know that I held on to that very dear to my heart, that they would know the truth when it was time for them to know the truth, and they would seek out the truth and find the truth. So I tried to do the best that I could with what I had, and that was just something that was given to me. Chris, you want to add to that? Yeah, America, how old are your daughters?
They're in their early 30s.
Okay, so they're in their early 30s. Yeah. You know what? Again, I'm like the rest. I applaud you for calling in and for sharing that with us, because I know that has to be very challenging. That has to be very hard. But you know what? You have to. I would just suggest a couple of things. Sometimes when people don't understand what you're going through, and it's not something that is popular. You don't hear things about bipolar, and a lot of times it has a negative connotation. But I can tell that you really love your daughters and you want to be a part of their lives. And so I would just suggest, sometimes writing is really good. And when I say writing, your feelings for your daughters, because when, as Gloria said, they come to a place where they want to engage or have that relationship, just think about your feelings towards them, how much you care for them, how much you love them. And even though you may not be able to talk to them directly right now, write it down, because when that opportunity comes, and we pray that it does, you can hand them their love letters, a love letter from their father, so that they'll know, even in the years or the times that you were not able to physically be with them, you've been thinking about them. And I promise you, that will mean a lot to them. So sometimes you just got to think out of the box, how you can have a relationship with your children during challenging times. But that's so good. That is so good. And I would just say that, because I know the way God created daughters, that every daughter has a desire for her daddy. And even if we have the ability to be blessed with other fathers figures in our lives, there's nothing like your own daddy. So there's something to encourage you. Even if you have the ability to mail or deliver those love letters, unless you have to hold them until they're ready, just know they may even read them and may respond immediately, may not respond immediately. And I just have to say it, praying that their heart is open is real, right? It's absolutely real. And so I pray for the wholeness for your family, and we thank you for calling in to that issue. Thank you, Marathon.
One more question.
Yes.
What do you do when the money doesn't come back?
What do you mean when the money doesn't come back?
The money that I sent you didn't come back.
Well, I think that you chalk it up to that. Hopefully it did indeed make sense. And I think we just have to choose where we put our energy. And so just know at this age of 30, they're probably not looking for your money, but looking for your love. So that's the first thing. It's absolutely free to write those love letters as things that shared. And so I would just challenge you as a father to forgive them for that, and forgiveness doesn't always mean that the person physically responds to you, but it's for your own health as well.
Well,
Marathon, we appreciate you calling into the show. We thank you so much for calling into the show and listening to our super valuable perspective as a father. And we appreciate you. Praying for you and your girl. All right, we're going to go to our next caller. Sylvia, are you there?
Yes, good evening.
Hey, girl, how are you? Oh, we got an issue. Hey, listen, I was fortunate. Look, I was like 39 when I finally decided to have a son, and that's just what I wanted. And I was lucky and fortunate because I had friends that were educated in the child development they ran kids start program. So they gave me the best advice, and I kept them in development classes, mentors, education, recreation, camp, golf. I remember Jeff is the science and math program. And when he was 14, I got him into a foreign exchange student where he went to London and Paris, where he could meet my mother and my brother who lived there. I encouraged him to be a writer. I told him to just start journaling things. And he does spoken words. He opened up for a show at Music Hall. He did spoken words for the African American Festival. And he has especially a big show now. And his dad, I never took him away from his dad. And he and his dad bonded. And they worked together raising my grandson. So I would consider myself fortunate to let that single parent.
That's excellent. And so, Sylvia, would you say that keeping him as active and just giving him all of the different opportunities that he did growing up is what contributed to raising your son, you said, right, successfully in a single parent household? I was just going to say, would you say that all of the different opportunities that you presented your son with would be one of the things that contributed to raising him successfully in a single parent household?
Oh, yeah, and it helped me a lot because I didn't know what to do. I'm not an educated person, but I was surrounded by people that were, and because of their encouragement, it helped me be motivated and do all that I could do to help and get all the tools and all the mentors, and even his dad, even though we weren't getting along or I didn't like him, I never stopped that time, and I'm thankful today because all of the village fit together and it made him a man today. He had a full scholarship to be an engineer when he left home.
Boy, you got a lot to be proud of. Congratulations on that success.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling Me Got Issues. We appreciate you. We're going to Tony. You're going to Tony. We want to hear from you. Tony, are you there?
Hey, girlfriend.
Hey.
I
am. I'm going to listen to Tony. Talk to us, Tony.
The children. Now, this is the topic. So I would probably have been classified as the kind of no-nonsense mom. You know, I was 28 when I had my first child, and then I had my second one 2 years later. So we're just 2 years apart, son and a daughter. And I was kind of the mom that always decided that I was raising adults, not children. I was raising adults. And so that's how I parented. They were doing their own laundry by the time they were 12. They were learning how to cook. I was a stay-at-home mom. It's not like I couldn't do their laundry or cook, but they needed to know how. They both got debit cards when they turned 14. That's how they got their allowance. They had to be able to tell me the balance in their account to get their next allowance. So I just kind of was always raising them towards independence. And they are both very, very independent and self-reliant. Even going through their college years, if they needed money, they didn't call. They just went and got another job. You know what I mean? So they both had to work when they turned 16 and pay for their personal items that they needed. And that was just me wanting them to be independent. If we were traveling through an airport, from the time we got out of the car to the time we got to the gate, they had to lead us to the gate. And they had to figure out how do we get to the gate so that when they were traveling alone, they would know how to maneuver anybody's airport anywhere. My son is like an international traveler. He takes trips internationally now by himself to different countries. He's not the least bit hesitant to venture out, and they, have always been self-sufficient and self-reliant. So, I always have a choice. Because I was a stay-at-home mom. And you know what? I found out probably when my son was 15, that the reason I, who was on a track, an executive track, chose to be a stay-at-home mom is because I was overprotective because I was molested when I was a kid. And it made me stay home. I would not leave them with anyone. I stayed home with my kids. Isn't that crazy? And it was an episode that brought me to that understanding and to therapy to figure out that that's what it was. Every human being I promise you, because it dictated how I parented my kids. Isn't that crazy? No, you're not crazy at all. You never had a babysitter? Well, I don't mean crazy like in the crazy sense. I mean, it's a death. Something. I mean, did you ever have a babysitter? I never had daycare. If I had a babysitter, it was very rare. Very rare. And we were a young military family, so we didn't live around family. So I didn't have a family support system. So it was one parent or the other with our kids.
Wow. That's just before you added that twist, I was going to ask you, how did you get there? You know, how did you get that parenting style, raising such independent, amazing children? But you really brought that into perspective of each parent, right? About how we were raised and our experience, how that played a part into us raising.
That's good. Because what I found out is that, you know, most kids who are molested tend to be controlling as you grow up. You control everything around you because you couldn't control that. So I taught my children to be able to control their environment. Well, and that's where that came from. So that's my comment.
Well, Tony, you had it so much. This is so good. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say, I mean, I'm sure, you know, we have a saying, if you know to do better, you will do better. Most of the time, our parenting skills start out exactly how we were raised. You know how we said, oh my God, I sound just like my mother. Oh my God, I said this, I said that. And so all of us probably have had experiences in our lives that make us who we are, and we end up doing things based on those experiences, and sometimes we don't even know all of the things that play into the reason we feel this way or the reason we feel that way. So I'm so glad you shared that, because it may be, you know, somebody listening today who may have gone through the same thing, and now a light bulb. They had a light bulb light, because when you said that to me, that totally made 100% sense. The reason you would be there and not want to have other people watch your children. So thank you for being transparent and sharing that. Absolutely.
Yeah, we appreciate you. You added so much value. All of the parents that called in just really helped us see how colorful parenting is and how different it is for every household, and how you can arrive at a successful adult, raising successful adults from different angles. It doesn't have to be the exact same way. So thanks so much, Tony. Thank you. I'm going to ask the girlfriend in the time that we have.
Let's just give the audience, the listening audience, some ideas, some pointers, some different things. You all have raised kids that are very entitled as African-American boys and women, men and women in the world today, that are courageous, that are socially able to navigate, you know, society very well. They're ready for today's world. So just a story, something you want to add. What is different? There are definitely some things that are unique in how you have spoken to your children along the way, and how what I've been privy to kind of behind the scenes. So Sabrina
wanted to add something.
Yeah. Well, before somebody else can answer that, I just want to talk a little bit about, it's not easy for parents, but avoiding these common mistakes can help. And number one is minimizing your kids' feelings. We have to listen as parents because many times we miss clues, we miss communication because we're so busy talking, we don't listen. And so I think it's just real key that we listen. We take the time to listen to what our babies are saying. Also, saving them from failure, not being so protective, a helicopter parent that you're hovering around them. I'm so grateful that my mom said, figure it out. Sometimes when I would go to her, she was like, you're smart enough, figure it out. Another thing is overindulging your kids. We never did that. Even though we could, it's not like you're entitled. You don't get just because we can. You have to earn the right. You be kind to other people. You be grateful, thankful. So some of those things go along with, we did come up in a middle-class environment. We can do things that I didn't get to do in my generation, but don't get it twisted that you're entitled. And so that was really important that we kept our young people grounded growing up. Expecting perfection. Stop expecting perfection. My son is at Princeton and we're in a parents chat. And some of those parents are like way overboard. Like she wants to know, how do you get on the dean's list at Princeton? And one of the parents is like, to get into Princeton is enough of a dean's list, lady. right. Okay. So I just think that sometimes putting that undue pressure on your children can mess them up. And so that's all I have to say. I know our time is short, so I want to pass it to somebody else. This has been great.
You answered the question, Sabrina. You hit on how to raise kids that are courageous, how to make them ready for the world. How do you have them be kind and, have a sense of entitlement, meaning they're ready to have they expect to be at the table, don't wait to be invited, or they create their own table, but yet they're not, uppity. They are able to be compassionate to the needs of the world and our community. So you really did hit it. We have 30 seconds for the final word. Gloria, I'm just going to give you something to add before. What would you add just in a couple seconds?
What I was thinking about parenting at giving your career choices and how your career choices will make a difference. Whether you're home, whether you're a home-based business, whether you have a parent that travels a lot, you just have to be very flexible as to how to manage your choice, because we are at a place where women are entering the workforce at big levels, bigger than ever before. And so they have to march hard at their careers, march hard at their family. And I'm just encouraging women to design it so that it works for you and to block out the noise so that you can create a family that your children are glad to be a part of.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. To our tribe, the Force of Friendship tribe, post a picture on our Facebook of you with your sons, with your daughters, with your kids. Brag on them. Tell us how bad they are, how super bad they are. And we hope that today's show has also given you some love, some light, some lessons, and even some laughter about raising kids. Yes, we brought them in the world and we ain't going to take them out. We going to raise them to take over and conquer this world that is this crazy world that we are in. But we're so grateful for this next generation. So thanks for listening to We Got Issues on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation WFDF. We will see you tomorrow on Wonderful Wednesday. Bye-bye.
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 Bye.